Welcome. I have game number 2 here. In the last game I forgot to mention that this is a total of 5 games that they played in a row. Last month, I think, somewhere around the 24th of July. I mean, of August. Somewhere on the 24th of August. And let me hide this interface there. So yeah, this is the second game between Hiwi, or also known as 458, and vsRoller, also known as Voss or JH. And Hiwi, Hiwi, I won't call him 458 because that might be confusing, because the names don't match the other names. They're kind of jizzy. But he is playing the purple Protoss on the top middle spot, and vsRoller is playing the white Terran on the middle left spot. And both players are chatting. He is saying something BM-ish. It has to be. There's no other way, otherwise he wouldn't be spamming like that. And here he starts off with the 2 gateways. Unlike last game where he started off with the Nexus into a Forge, into a Choke, and went for Dragoons. But this game he's going for something else, with which he hopes to have more success, I'm sure, because last game he didn't have that much success as he would have wanted. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the previous game. But vsRoller starts off with 2 barracks. He's not going for 3 barracks. That's very unusual for Roller, because usually he always goes for 3 barracks. This is almost one of the few times I've seen him go for 2 barracks. So he must be very confident in the fact that Hiwi will not be aggressive in the early game. But he is wrong, because Hiwi went for 2 gateways, and 2 gateways and 2 barracks is actually an advantage for the 2 gateway build, because he can be very aggressive with just 2 gateways against 2 barracks and might be able to put a lot of pressure on Roller. And Roller going for the very early gas. No depot yet. He's just surfing around on very high minerals, and they have scouted each other. I mean, Roller has scouted Hiwi, and Hiwi lost his probe just a little bit earlier to the Marines. There's the 2 Zealots are coming out looking to fight with Roller's Marines. He's going to walk right through. Gonna go get a little bit of information in, because the probe couldn't get any information on Roller's base. And he's going to hit the SCVs. No, he's not going to. Yes, he's going to hit the back SCVs, the first wave from the Marines, making it harder for the Marines, give himself a little bit more time. And neither of the Zealots goes down, but both Zealots have been chunked down beyond half HP. This one's even very close to dying, has only 21 HP left, and they go back. They're going to throw another attack on the SCVs, and more Zealots are coming in from the right, flanking the Marines of Roller. But the Roller's Marines, yes, he's going to attack Roller's Marines, he's going to attack them and try to take as many of them down as he can. But considering the other 2 were already on low HP and the Marines had no damage taken at all yet, he loses more Zealots than Roller loses Marines, and Roller probably didn't even have to micro that much. But as all that was happening, a cybernetic core has been thrown down for Hiwi, 2 gases have been constructed, he's mining from both of them, and 3 cannons have been thrown down at his choke. So he's gonna play the very defensive game for now, until he has his robotic facilities up. And the Citadel of the Dune, just gonna have to wait for the cybernetic core to finish. And Roller pretty much lost nothing to the attack. I think he lost 2 SCVs to the Zealots, which isn't all that much, considering he kept almost all of his Marines alive. Lost 2 or so. There is the Academy, there is the +1 CC. So he's gonna go for that little economy boost, but we're not seeing the +2 CC. Usually you see a +2 CC before the factory, but he went for a very early factory, and he's planning on being aggressive with it, because he's already sending his Marines out to try and get some damage out on that choke. But it looks like Hiwi anticipated this and went for the 5 cannons instead of the 2 or 3 cannons. And a single Marine instantly dies to double cannon fire. And there are the 2 robotic facilities in Hiwi's base. There is... Oh, wait, it's a Citadel of Dune and a robotic facility, my bad. He's going for the very standard, usual stuff. There is the Templars archive, so he's actually Not going for the Reaver first. He's immediately going for the Templar drop. Otherwise, we'd be seeing a double. Wait, there is a double robot. He's throwing. He's throwing me off. But he's throwing these buildings down in a different order than you would usually see them. Maybe things have changed in the meta in the recent weeks. There is the tank. Zealot's trying to take down the tank, but there are no more Zealots out there. He's gonna go for a very early Dark Templar. Maybe that's why he had the very early Templar's Archive thrown down to go for Dark Templars in response to Roller's very aggressive push. And Roller does not. No, there's the engineering bay almost finished up, but there's no SCV there yet. He's sending out 2 SCVs to start constructing turrets before Dark Templars will come up, but the Dark Templars will spawn just before the turrets might even finish, because it takes a while for turrets to construct themselves. And there is the first turret being constructed, and the second one will be constructed a little bit further down. He's being very aggressive, pretty much the same thing as we saw last game, although with a slight variation in it. And there is the scan, the Dark Templars go down, but there is another one, and there is no turret out there in the front. Hiwi noticed that there's no turret out there in the front, and he's going to try to take down the turret first, or he's going to go for the Marines. There is another scan. This is very close to the probes of Hiwi, but he only kills a single one. Oh, he killed about 5. He only kills 5 probes. That's very, very advantageous for Hiwi. Because imagine if he had lost more. That was just very unfortunate target selection for Roller. If he had selected just a different one, he could have taken at least 20 probes down and won the game right there and then. But it still looks like he is in a very good position to win this game. He just has to keep his Marines alive and not have them die to this Reaver. But he's trying to take down the shuttle, but in the process he's losing all his Marines, and now he is... I think he's going to be forced to recede back to his base after this one, because he won't be able to take down the Reaver as it gets microed. He's trying to take down the shuttle, but the Reaver gets dropped behind the gateways, where it is safe, but also unable to fire on the Marines because he's out of range. And he's doing some really decent micro there, and he's going to try to take down the shuttle, but the Reaver. But the Reaver survives, it gets a single shot off, but the shot does, as the Marine it was focusing on already dies. And he's going to try to micro it again. These Marines are going to be very unhappy about those Reaver shots flying in at him. More Marines rolling in, there's another tank. Meanwhile, he's got a lot of... Oh, he took down one of the Reavers. That's some really, really neat micro. This shuttle almost went down, but he manages to pull the shuttle to safety before it goes down to Marine fire. And he's going to throw down more turrets, trying to get detection up, but also to make it harder for Hiwi to get that Reaver in to range. And the shuttle does go down, but he took 7 Marines with him. And this is a very action-packed early game. The Roller is really feeling confident, and the siege tank does not get up into siege mode quick enough and dies to the Dark Templars before it can get a shot up on the probes. And if he had gotten that shot up on the probes, it would have been game over for Hiwi. But Hiwi has managed to fight off this attack from Roller. Roller was very, very over-aggressive there. And tank barely survives the Dark Templar attack. It walks into turret range and gets focused down by the stint Marines. So as always was happening, Roller has now 4 factories inside his base, throwing down turrets on the side. He's very confident he's going to win this game, because he's throwing them down very sloppily, not paying attention to where he's throwing them down exactly. So this might end up hurting his SimCity later in the game if the game does drag on, which I have a feeling it will, because there are now a lot of Templars and Reavers out for Hiwi. Hiwi relocating his Reavers with a pretty move that he could have just moved them backwards, but I guess this looks prettier and cooler. He's got a lot of overmines and going to throw down a lot of gateways, and Roller has to push in very, very soon and very quickly to prevent these gateways from becoming operational. And yes, he decides to push out, but he loses most of the Marines to the Reavers in the back. He won't be able to focus down. And there's another shot, takes down 3 of his Marines. There's now 3 Reavers out in the base of Hiwi, and he's producing 1 more and a shuttle. So he might be trying to go for a drop very soon after this. More factories thrown down, still pumping quickly from these barracks, and he's sending his shuttles out all around the map because he knows that Roller probably has vision up on the top right corner and probably has turrets down on the top side of his base. So he's going for a very conservative and safe route all the way around. But he's going to fly over 2 shuttles here, unless he's going from this side here against the map wall, the map edges. So here, Roller, very slowly pushing in, but he's going to lose some units. And there the drop flies in, the drop goes in all the way. And Roller doesn't notice, but there is no storm upgrade. There is no storm. There is no storm upgrade. This is very unfortunate for Hiwi. Hiwi could have turned the game around, but he forgot to upgrade the storm, and all of Roller's SCVs just happily survive, being very, very, very thankful to the gods that Hiwi forgot to research Storm Drop, Psionic Storm. So the Storm Drop fails. Hiwi now has to recalibrate his strategy because I'm really sure he was relying on that drop to hit and turn the game around for him. But now he is in a really tight position because there are so many tanks rolling into Hiwi's base. Hiwi now spreading up his zealots, his entire mass. He's going to push in, fly all of his units in. And there is the Reaver with the Reaver. He's going to try to Reaver micro them. No, he's got a Reaver micro. He's just going to have the Reaver shoot on the zealots because the zealots are taking all the focus from the tanks. But Roller is now deliberately focusing down the Reavers, and all of the Zealots have gone down. The Reavers have gone down, but another wave of Zealots and Reavers is coming out as they just finished production. And the Reavers in the back, firing away at the tanks, but the tanks, they're seized here in the back, now taking down the Reavers. A single Reaver goes down, and he's now focusing down the Reaver with the Marines, stim them in there, and more Zealots taking down tanks inside the choke of Hiwi's entrance, and this turret takes down a shuttle while all that was happening. And more factories have been thrown down for Roller, depots, everything, and Hiwi is just desperately throwing units out into this advancement from Roller, and Roller is very slowly advancing, but he needs a turret here for Dark Templars. No Dark Templars are being produced for Hiwi. Hiwi is just sticking to Reavers and Zealots. Zealots are doing a really good job, and I have to admit that Roller's units have been spread out very thinly. And a lot of units are still sitting inside his base, but he will be able to manage to clean out this wave of units that are sitting in his base. But a new wave of Marines and tanks are rolling in for Roller. Roller is rolling hard, although he has to reposition these units very quickly to inside the choke of Hiwi. And Hiwi, they're both on about equal supply count at this point in the game. And Hiwi spammed all of his gateways completely full with Zealots. Hiwi is not going to try for another drop. He has given up on the drops. He's just going to focus on desperately fighting against Roller's units. And he does have one weapon upgrade. Roller also has one weapon upgrade on his Marines. No tank upgrades just yet. And he does actually manage to push out all of Roller's units because Roller didn't have these tanks sieged up right here to shoot down at the Zealots, so that might actually end up costing him the leverage he had over Hiwi, and Hiwi will now be able to really quickly rebuild his base through a bunch of pylons here on the side to ensure that he has enough psi to keep filling up and spending his minerals. But Roller manages to fight off that breakout from Hiwi. There is, I thought it was a shuttle, but it is a Zealot that ran out all the way across the map. More Zealots now running out, but they're getting focused down very quickly. But they will get in between the tanks of Roller, and now only the Marines can fire at the Zealots, and the tanks are taking each other down. And it looks like Hiwi has fought it off. Although part of it was due to poor unit placement from Roller, Hiwi has overcome what could have been a game-ending push from Roller. And now Hiwi is starting the counterattack. All of his Zealots are now running into Roller's base, in between the tanks, taking down the tanks in the front line. And tanks taking down tanks. There is a drop flying in. The drop's flying in all over, but it gets taken down by Marines because Hiwi lost track of it and didn't redirect just in time. Roller is in a very good position here to keep on to survive this, but he's gonna have to get his units out very quickly. And there's a drop flying in from the bottom, but Roller sees it, and Roller does not pull his SCVs off of his minerals because he is focusing somewhere else. But he does take down the shuttle with help of these two Marines that he stimmed and made attack the shuttle. So he eventually does survive the drop. He does survive their frontal attack, even though his units have been whittled down a lot. Hiwi is almost on 200, whereas Roller is on 150 supply. And another drop flies in from the top side this time, and he's going to try to focus down. He actually gets the shuttle down just in time with the help of those 4 Marines that he stimmed into the shuttles. And Hiwi is now taking down turrets on the top side. Might actually be in the benefit of Roller, because Roller can now restart his SimCity correctly. It should have done at the first time he was building turrets. And now these mines are doing great work of taking down the Zealots that Hiwi is attacking with. A couple of Zealots do get through the wall that Roller was trying to throw down. So the goons also canceling some of the buildings that are being constructed. And it's now an incomplete little blockade here in the choke of Roller's base. Roller now almost back on 200 supply. A lot of tanks in his base, a lot of Marines in his base. Another drop is flying in from Hiwi. Hiwi is getting in there all the way. And Roller pulls off his SCVs, and most of his SCVs manage to make it out to safety. Another storm comes down. There is another... yes, he survives with most of his SCVs. Doesn't really lose anything significant. Lost a bunch of Marines. Lost a couple of SCVs working on the gas. Maybe lost a couple of SCVs on this side too. But nothing too serious. Nothing that will slow him down or prevent him from being able to fight back against Hiwi's advances or attacks. Hiwi has very slowly hasn't really added on to his base in the meantime. Thrown down a couple of nexuses and is starting to add on more gateways, and a frontal attack is happening. A lot of his units get in. And the storm drop almost made its way to Roller's SCVs. Roller didn't pull off his SCVs, but the storm missed. And units in the front of Roller's base did get cleaned out by the frontal attack of Dragoons, Zealots, and Templars, but he didn't lose as many units as he wouldn't be able to replace before the next attack that he was going to throw out. And there is another drop flying in from the bottom side. From the side. 2 drops actually at the... no, single drop. The other one was going in as a distraction. Roller doesn't pull his... yes, he pulls his SCVs off, and Hiwi does get a storm off, but the storm does not do any significant damage. And in response to Hiwi being unable to do any significant damage to Roller, Roller is now going for the counterattack. And gonna try... there's another drop flying in. But that drop will die to the turrets before it can even do anything. It was just a distraction shuttle. But there comes a drop from the front. He's got the shuttle loaded up with 4 Zealots. And 4 Zealots, only Zealots. He's gonna try to drop those Zealots on top of the SCV, so they die to tank splash damage. But there are no tanks in the vicinity. So it doesn't even do any real damage. The SCVs and the Zealots just go down. I mean, the SCV, the Zealots just go down. And meanwhile, on the middle fight is going on. Hiwi is trying to slow down Roller's push into the middle and into the choke of Hiwi. But Roller, having so many factories and barracks out and so many units out, just takes control effortlessly. Although this push here from Hiwi will definitely take down this group of tanks here in the middle. All the tanks go down to a storm. The Zealots get in between the tanks and take down the tanks. The tanks become unable to fire back at the Zealots that are attacking them. Well, this is a this has pretty much been non-stop action from this entire game, and I'm gonna need to have a glass of water. Yeah, I had a sip of water. Another drop flies in from the top. Another drop also flying in from the side. He storms his command center by accident, misclicked it instead of clicking on the Marines. So no units lost there for Roller. And Roller now sending out another wave of units onto the middle, and another drop is already flying in. This is basically a drop every 20 seconds or so from Hiwi, but not a single one of these drops has been able to do any damage to Roller. So Roller has been handling these very well, or Hiwi has been handling his drops very poorly. It's either one of the two, or perhaps both. Can never be too sure. Hiwi sees the drop flying in, repositions all of the Marines on the bottom side, and he's going to take down the shuttles. He's going to focus on them, but the Templar did get out, but the Templar died to Marine Stimfire before it could get a Storm off. A very risky game that Roller was playing, because if that Templar had gotten a Storm off, he would have lost all his Marines and been pushed and been in a very tight and nasty position where he could lose the game, because he wouldn't be able to keep up in production with Hiwi, because Hiwi has all his minerals still. And the drop flies in, he's dropping some distraction units, and the Templar comes in all the way, and it storms, and it kills 29 of the SCVs that Roller had on his minerals. That's way too many SCVs dead. That's a very, very good storm for Roller that might end up saving the game for him. Although, for some reason, his minerals are very low. He might want to have to add a couple of probes to his minerals, because he is spending... I mean, his macro is absolutely amazing. But being so low on minerals might actually mean that he might not be able to bump out enough units once this wave of his units die to Roller's tanks. And Roller is almost back on 200, but he lost a couple of SCVs there, so his income has slowed down. Another drop flies in. Templar gets out, but the Templar doesn't get the storm on anything significant. Oh, he does get the storm on the gas SCVs there. And the shuttles are empty. Roller has taken over control of the middle, but he might be able to lose. He might lose that control over to Hiwi once Hiwi sends out his units. He's gonna drop a couple of zealots on top of the tanks and then fly the remainder of his drop in. Well, actually, he's just gonna drop the remainder of his units on the tanks. Turns out there are no Templars in there, so he's not going to fly that in as a drop. But he's going to try to fly it in as a distraction drop, just to scare Roller. Not Roller doesn't fall for it, Roller doesn't move his SCVs off of his minerals to safety. So his income is completely secure and never halted. Another drop flying in from the top side. This is non-stop dropping, and there's another drop at the front that's empty. Drop from the top flying in, but the shuttles go down as there's just simply way too many turrets on the top side of Roller's base, and the Goliaths too helping out taking down the shuttles. And Roller again trying to push out into the middle, and Hiwi is spreading out his units for a flank. One from the top side, one from the bottom side, but Roller pushes back because he can see those units with the vision provided by this Star Blade. For some reason build a control tower there, and very conveniently this the flank from Hiwi doesn't work out as well as it could have, because the units focused on the starport and the control tower first. But he just managed to clean out the units that Roller had situated here in his choke. Roller now landing units on top of the hill to help him defend against units. And Roller is very poor. Very poor. He should make some SCVs. He probably thought he lost way less SCVs than he actually did. Another drop flies in. He's dropping a lot of zealots on top of the defensive units that Roller had placed at his main. And he's going to take down a bunch of turrets too. He's got 6 zealots hammering away at the turrets. And he cleaned out most of the units that Roller had placed at his main CCs as defense against drops. Another drop flying in from the front. And he's maneuvering it a little bit, but it's empty. He dropped zealots on top of the tanks in the front. He's storming tanks on top of the hill. And turrets in the top still going down. Roller has to deal with that very quickly, because once another drop starts, there is another drop already flying in. So Roller wouldn't even be able to defend against the next drop, because all the turrets just got taken down. Roller, Hiwi is sending in his drop. There are no units for Roller at his main, and all these shuttles are filled up with zealots and Templars. And there the drop comes, and he storms all of Roller's SCVs at the worst possible time ever. Roller now on 3 minerals. He cancels some units, but he's on 103 minerals. And Roller is going to try to go for the base trade, but he might not even have enough units out on the map to go for a base trade, because he doesn't have any production left, while Hiwi has all of his production still left and remaining. And Hiwi will definitely be able to push this off. Well, there are a lot of mines being placed in the choke of Hiwi's base. But Hiwi has great production going on, whereas Roller has 0 production, because he has 9 SCVs on his minerals. He should pull these off, put them on his minerals just to help him recover a little bit more. And just as I'm saying that, he pulls SCVs off of his gas, puts them on his minerals. And Hiwi is dealing with these tanks really well by just dropping zealots on top of the tanks and making it the tanks focus the tanks. So Roller is killing his own tanks, and now Hiwi is sending out the remaining units that he had inside his base, picked up a couple of more units and dropping them on top of the tanks really quickly and really well. Really well played and really well microed from Hiwi, and Hiwi is doing such a great job of dealing with Roller's mass in the middle. And there's an empty shuttle flying in, but there is a real drop. Oh, never mind, all these shuttles are empty. Did he drop units on top of the tanks there? I'm not too sure. And Roller here realized that the game is probably over. See, he's broke, can't produce units, lost all of his units. It's an 80 or 90 supply against 187 supply. So Hiwi has at least 100 units more on the map than Roller does. Psy, not units necessarily, because double units. And Hiwi already back on 200. He's been macroing. Well, he's just spamming units in every single gateway, but it's working out for him really well. And he's been using his units extremely well. Extremely great focus, micro, macro, everything around. Multitasking is amazing. And there is another drop flying in. No, he's just dropping zealots right on top of the SCVs. And they're taking down a couple of Goliaths. They're not focusing on SCVs, but it doesn't matter because the front is falling. There's another drop. No, not a drop. It's so confusing because there's shuttles flying in from every single direction, but sometimes they're just empty. And either makes you think that, or there's a distraction. And there is the BM coming out from Hiwi. And there are zealots being dropped behind the line of factories. And the factories in the front are going down because there are almost no units at all to defend against the zealots. It will probably just take another wave of units from Hiwi to kill Roller, because Roller is losing almost everything that he had left inside his base. His income has somewhat recovered, but it's not high enough to make units from every single factory. Though he actually is making units from every single factory, but it will definitely not be enough because it's mostly just vultures, and vultures aren't that great. I mean, they can place mines, but they aren't that great in an environment where they can't micro that well, and this is definitely an environment where those vultures will not be able to micro that well. And there's a huge stack of probes coming in to help deal, to help kill. Yeah, he's gonna kill SCVs with his probes. That's a nice little move. And Vulture, I mean, Roller is placing down a lot of mines with his vultures, but it doesn't really make a difference. And he calls GG, leaves the game, and Hiwi makes the amazing comeback from that very tight early game where he was pushed back into his base, but he holds on, keeps holding on, and with amazing multitasking, micro, macro, and decision making, and just a non-stop barrage on Roller. Roller had to focus on so many different things at the same time that it becomes so very difficult to play a TVP. And I hope this gives you a glimpse into why Hiwi is such a great PvT player, because that just non-stop abuse, non-stop attacking, non-stop fighting on every single front. Great multitasking. I love this game. Hope you enjoyed it. I mean, I ran out of words a couple of times, just the action was non-stop. Non-stop action, non-stop talking, non-stop rambling. Yeah, exciting match. I'm gonna cast game number 3 because there's 5 games in this series. I'm gonna cast it tomorrow because I'm actually kind of fatigued after a long day, and I hope you enjoyed this one. See you again tomorrow. I'm gonna cast game number 3, 4, and 5 tomorrow. They're all pretty long games, around 15 to 27 minutes long, so I hope you're looking forward to them. GG's.